So today I have a topic we've never spoken about before, and that's surveillance. Yeah, and so let's start with the first video. Hang on here. Here we go. It's kind of interesting.
So in 2023, Carnegie Mellon University published a paper called Dense Pose from Wi-Fi. Using just Wi-Fi signal from a standard router, an AI model is able to reconstruct your full body pose. This is where we step beyond just someone in a room to actually understanding the position of your arms, your legs, your overall posture. Multiple people in the room at once, through the walls, with no camera, just radio waves. This is really wild tech. And then it gets even more sophisticated. So these Wi-Fi signals interact with your body in a very unique way, depending on your bone density, your body mass, your posture, etc. A 2025 paper called WhoFi showed that we could take advantage of these Wi-Fi signals to identify who the person actually is, essentially re-identification. So the way you walk, the way you shift your weight, even the way you sit, it creates this very unique biometric signature in the Wi-Fi signal. And they used a transformer neural network to match those signatures to specific individuals. Now, this is simultaneously creepy, but also super useful. In a sense, your AI systems can know who the person in the room is, so you can change the preferences accordingly. And you don't need to have like an invasive camera in every single room to do it. So if we take a step back, step one is Wi-Fi just detecting movement. This is already working in millions of homes. Step two is Wi-Fi reconstructing your precise body pose through the walls. This is published research. Step three is Wi-Fi being able to re-identify a specific person just based on their unique signature, also published. Suddenly we've gone from a very coarse-grained motion sensor to essentially a surveillance system that works in the dark, through walls, on hardware that you already own. And the gap between detect motion and identify the person is a simple software update. The hardware is already installed. A little bit of edge compute and you're already there.
So what do you think about that?
You've shown, or we watched a video a while ago about this topic, and it's kind of creepy. It's also really kind of cool with how futuristic it is. Like he said, you could have like settings in whatever room you walk in based off of who you are, and it can detect, oh, it's this person. Let's set maybe, for example, the lighting to this mood that they like specifically. That's kind of cool. He also said like you don't have to have something so invasive, but if it knows who you are and where you're at, I think that's invasive enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's another video that same subject, but it's from a different perspective. Let's see what they're saying here. Here we go.
You might think police need a warrant to find out what's happening inside your home. But with new surveillance technology, they may be able to track every movement through your walls using your Wi-Fi signal without ever stepping inside. That means they could learn whether you're home, where you're at in your home, watch you as you move from room to room, while most people have no idea this technology even exists. And if you don't understand how this works, you won't know that your privacy rights are being violated. And more importantly, you won't know what to do to stop it.
So, what do you think about this use of it?
Well, it could be useful in cases of like maybe a barricaded suspect or something. But with the direction our government is going and infringing on people's rights and stuff, and like I pretty much have zero trust for the police anymore. After watching the Reckless Ben situation and him getting arrested because the cops just didn't want him pursuing legal action through the legal route with the owners of the Bricks and Minifig company, it scares me. It's like our rights are just slowly diminishing away, and I don't know how far that's gonna go. And especially nowadays, I feel like there's no way people would have a revolution to stop that. I feel like in the old days when there weren't so many distractions going on, if a right was being infringed upon, the people would immediately rise up and actually do something. But nowadays, I don't think that could ever happen.
Yeah, I don't think most people know the capabilities, like in this case of the Wi-Fi. And without even knowing it, their freedoms are being taken away. Their privacy is being taken away. I have another video here that is a little bit different, but it's along the same lines.
Documented immigrants, there is a new focus on the tools that are being used to track people down.
Fox 12 investigative reporter Ezra Kaplan took a deep dive into new technology getting a lot of attention.
This is a surveillance camera, but instead of recording video, it is capturing pictures. It's called an automatic license plate reader. And as the technology proliferates onto neighborhood streets, privacy hawks are raising the alarm. Powered by solar panels and artificial intelligence, Flock cameras take pictures of every passing vehicle. The color, make, model, license plate number, and even bumper stickers are then logged, added to a vast spreadsheet, and made available to law enforcement officers.
Crime is not bound by jurisdictional lines. And so law enforcement partners of Flock see a tremendous value in sharing information.
The company points to stolen cars recovered, Amber Alerts answered, and fugitives apprehended thanks to the camera technology and the ability of law enforcement agencies to share information. But it's that sharing of data that has Flock in hot water.
Well, I'm usually described as the privacy hawk in the United States Senate.
His focus on the company began earlier this year after various news outlets reported that federal officers had accessed the company's data for immigration enforcement.
My investigators, they tell me that Flock is refusing to audit its government customers to prevent abuses, and Flock told my office it wasn't their job to police the police. That was their specific quote.
So this was another example of surveillance. And what all these companies seem to be saying is that it's kind of for our own good. It's for safety, you know, to tell if there's anyone in your house, if there's a child abducted and there's they're trying to find the car, you know, like the Amber Alerts that we get. They could just find the car by the Flock videos. And it's more than just that company, too. There's several other companies that are doing this. But what do you think about that? What do you think about the idea that it's actually making us safer?
Well, I mean, I bet there's some truth to that, but I think with the small amount, or well, it might even be a large amount. With the large amount, it's making people safer in that way. It's going to be far more dangerous, add far more danger to people's lives, or like the country's life, as things get easier for the government to start cracking down on the most basic rights that we have. I mean, they were like, back to what I was saying with the reckless Ben. They're already, his free speech isn't protected anymore. Recently he was just allowed to start posting again, but like, you can't just silence somebody because they're saying something you don't like. And that's what they were able to do with him. They were threatening him with like ruining his life. It makes me think of China, you know, like China's credit score, or social credit score, or whatever it is. It's almost like we're on a path towards that, where if you do something wrong, you're just going to get something in the mail, like, oh, here's a fine, or here's your credit score going down, your social credit score going down because we saw you do something that you don't like. One more thing. I saw just a couple days ago, there was a bunch of, I think it was the exact same brand, like the Flock cameras. There were like a bunch of them found trashed and destroyed, and people are like not having it.
Right. What do you say to people that are saying, because I've heard this argument many times, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about?
In regards to this, well, I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, I think the government is... I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think there's people who are powerful that want you to be in trouble or something, it's just so easy to fabricate anything.
Everyone has done something they could get in trouble for, and there's so many laws that many of the laws you don't even know you break, right? Before you were born, on 9/11, there was that event that happened that brought in something called the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act, they could intercept, it made it so that they could intercept communications between civilians without a warrant. And also they could start tracking credit cards and bank accounts. The government could monitor that. And get personal information that before that they couldn't get.
Mm-hmm.
The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution protects individuals from unreasonable search and seizures by the government, and also requires that there must be warrants, and they must be issued for probable cause and specifically describe the places to be searched. This stuff looks like they're searching. We have no clue they're searching us. They're looking at every aspect of our life. We're under constant surveillance. When I was a kid, none of this stuff existed. I mean, I was an adult before cell phones existed and the internet too. What does this make you feel like? I mean, you grew up in this era, so this is nothing new.
It feels like freedom is like diminishing. Like we're not having as much freedoms as we did before. Behind your closed doors and in your home, you shouldn't be able to be tracked completely. And if these companies, if like the internet companies have the ability to do that, it's not like there's laws in place preventing them from sharing that information with police officers and stuff. I think there just needs to be more laws about this stuff coming out. But even then, it's like the people who were in charge that made the laws and like the amendments or the amendments, they're gone. They're long gone. So it's the people in charge now. I don't know if we want them actually making laws regarding this.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But
it just seems like the collapse of our government is inevitable at this point. The collapse of like our whole way of living it's just going to be so radically changed over my lifetime that it's kind of scary.
Yeah. What concerns me too is AI, because AI is going to have access to all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And this data is just a gold mine for AI companies. It's like if we can sell the literal movements of people all day, every day, and then feed that to AI, it just helps them learn faster. It's literally a gold mine for the AI companies. Like everything that they need is data. That's literally the only thing they really need is just more data.
Right.
And if there's something like that where it's tracking our every movement, and we can see exactly how it's going to be like, I'm trying to think, isn't there like, what's the term, the all-seeing eye or something like that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Big Brother in 1984, that novel, it was Big Brother. They had telescreens. They were like TVs, but it was telescreens where they could actually see you too, which, I mean, our smart TVs can do that. So the all-seeing eye, I think that's from Lord of the Rings or something.
Well, all I know is that if they're able to see everything, it's going to advance AI faster than we could ever imagine, which is already being advanced very quickly. But if we could feed that data, it kind of gets to the question of if AI is going to be able to develop a consciousness, because if it's fed all this data, is it just going to be a really good simulation of consciousness because it knows what everybody's doing, or is it actually going to develop consciousness itself, do you think?
I don't know. I always said, no, it can't be conscious. It can't be conscious. But I'm not fully convinced of that.
And even if it can't be conscious, it's getting to the point where with everything it is learning from us, it's going to be indistinguishable from real consciousness. It could be a simulated consciousness, but if it's interacting with me or you the exact same way that a human would how a human would interact with us as well, because it's able to emulate human behavior so well based on studying everybody's movements all day, every day, it'll be indistinguishable from consciousness.
You're right.
Like, does it even matter that if it reaches consciousness, if it's indistinguishable from having its own consciousness?
It makes me think of the image of the beast spoken of in Revelation, because the image of the beast can talk. People worship it, but it's not the beast itself. It's the image of the beast. And
you mean like the mark of the beast?
Well, that's the mark of the beast too. That's the mark that someone has to take. Those that don't take the mark can't buy or sell, which kind of ties into social credit scores. But no, there's the image of the beast that's spoken of in Revelation, which whenever I read that, lately I'm thinking maybe that's AI. I don't know. But I wanted to show you, there's a website called dflock.org, and this shows where the flock cameras are across the U.S. Now, I, less than a week ago, got on here for the first time, and it was 113,000. Now it's 115,000 something. So there's a
86
map,
cities.
and it shows the U.S. and where all these are.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, way out in the middle of nowhere.
What? Why are there stuff in the literal middle of nowhere?
Well, we could go find out. I don't know where this is exactly. Maybe Colorado or something. But it's on some highway. But it shows where they all exist.
Is Flock a private company?
I think so.
Or is it a government?
Well, it's probably got government contracts.
Oh, I'm sure it has plenty of government.
We could go to L.A. here and let's see what's...
Well, you can go underneath LA and see.
Yeah, I don't... I'll show you that later. But is Norwalk, Anaheim. So Disneyland is... I can't
get to Disneyland without being trapped.
No. Oh, but if you really go in close, it shows you, I believe, like which way it's pointed.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can know that you're being watched as you're coming down this street here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, it's gone up by about 2,000 since last week. This is, who knows, in another couple months, how many are going to be in our communities. Now, some communities are saying, no, we don't want it. I think cities that are rejecting license plate readers.
Oh.
Come on. Why is this not working?
Well, that's not too important.
Anyway, so I went there earlier. I got there, and one of them was L.A., but L.A. clearly has a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
they're all over the place in L.A.
Yeah. I guess if you really want to know where not to drive, if you don't want your license plate to be read, then maybe this is a tool that you could use. But it looks like it's just a matter of time before pretty much everywhere is going to have these readers. And it not only reads the license plate, as the guy was saying earlier, it also bumper stickers or if there's a dent in your car or that kind of thing. So it kind of compiles information about your car. It's crazy.
That is kind of scary. But I do think there could be some good use cases of it from, I mean, child abduction, like you said
Yeah.
earlier. You couldn't have an easier way of instantly identifying where a car is. Like if you could put it into some database and it says, "Oh, this is the last place this license plate was seen," which Amber Alerts give license plates all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like if you could just go into a database, put this license plate, and then get minute by minute updates of, "Oh, the car's here now. Oh, the
Right.
car's here now." It could be really useful in saving abductions, literally anything criminal related if there's like a robbery. But at the same time, you could just take your license plate off. I don't know. It's a very strange thing.
Yeah.
Criminals are gonna have to think a lot more.
Well, they were saying that they're touting how many stolen cars have been found by this. That's a good thing, but I think it's kind of like after 9/11, so many years ago, I was all for the Patriot Act, and because anything to catch the bad guys, and you know what, everyone was afraid and angry, and it passed in Congress. That bill passed with no alterations whatsoever, and pretty much unanimously. So it's like everyone's like, no, we need this. So not thinking about what is this doing to our rights.
And that makes me think that maybe that was part of the reason for 9/11 happening.
Oh boy, I hope not.
Because well, there's definitely strange things around 9/11.
Yes.
Building 5 collapsing for absolutely no other
7,
reason.
I think it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think it was 7. The lower building.
Yeah, like the lower building. Like why it just collapsed out of nowhere for no other reason. It's like there had to there's more to the story than what we were shown and what we were told, and governments have done plenty of terrible things in the past. Not exclusively the United States government, but many other governments have had false flags that are used in order to usher in something, because everybody's emotions are so heightened. They just make them want to vote yes on something like, oh yeah, we should be able to know everything that's going on about every single person at all times to prevent further things like this happening. So maybe that was part of the reason why it was passed, or 9/11 happened in the first place, so that people behind the scenes who controlled what was going on could usher in things to have more surveillance, have more control over people.
I hope not. I mean, that's an awful thought, but I'm not fully convinced that that wasn't the case.
Well, there was definitely strange occurrences around 9/11.
Yeah.
We know that that building should not have fallen. There was no reason for that building to fall. The two towers, I could see, and I've heard so many people say, oh, that's impossible that the 2 towers would fall given their steel beams or whatever. The heat inside of it wouldn't have been able to cause that. Regardless of that, maybe there was some fluke thing that caused that. But there was absolutely no reason for the other building to fall.
And
it did.
I remember quite clearly them announcing it before it did fall. They said something about we're bringing it down. That footage can't be found anymore. And I have heard on another program, and I remember it clearly. I remember thinking, well, why are they bringing that down? And it was a mistake. They should have said it afterwards. They didn't. And I've heard it on another podcast where they were saying that, yes, that was announced on TV before it actually came down. They're bringing it down. And if you see it come down, it's very controlled, the demolition. You don't set that up in a few hours.
Yeah.
You know, that was a large building. So, and also there was a huge amount of gold underneath there.
That was removed beforehand, right?
I don't know.
No, I thought you mentioned that in the past. I heard stories, and I'm not sure, that the buildings were insured right before it happened.
Yes, I do know that. Yeah.
Is that a fact, or is
Yeah,
that?
well, I've heard that.
You've heard that as well.
That was a fact from a pretty reputable source. So yeah.
And then about like false governments causing false flags. What do you think about the October 10th attack on Israel?
In Israel,
Because how does that happen without security?
yeah, this is kind of a dangerous topic, I think, but
We're gonna get killed by Israel.
well, no, not that. Just even airing this, maybe. But Israel's defense is like second to none. It's the best in the world, right?
Yet they let that happen somehow.
Yet that happened. It makes you wonder.
And not only it happened, but it wasn't shut down immediately. Like, say somehow they slipped through their defenses. Well, they slipped through their defenses. The attacks went on for, I don't know exactly how long, but it had to have been hours. And then they went back to Palestine without being stopped on the way with carrying hostages. It's like that. We're talking about the false flags I said earlier, so that the government could usher in something that they wanted to have done. It seems like that could easily. It seems like that's the most plausible case.
Well, it began
in that scenario.
It began a war, right? So I don't know. Anyway, I think a lot of our freedoms are being taken for the sake of security, and they're playing on our fears so that we'll accept that. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of events that seem unfathomable, like 9/11 and October 10th, it's like there's got to be a motive behind it. If there's so many inconsistencies that add up, and it's like, why on earth would that building fall? How on earth would, I don't know if I can use that
Bad guys.
How on earth would bad guys get through a border that's the most secured border of all time? It's like it seems like these things are used so that the public doesn't lose their mind when the government makes the next steps.
Yeah.
So it's like, we have an objective, we know how to get to that objective, and nothing's going to stop us from doing it. If it means we have to allow or actively participate in the unaliving of our citizens, we'll do anything it takes to get this piece of legislation passed. If you made it this far and got anything out of it, we ask that you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share everywhere you possibly can. It helps us more than you know.